Hi, this is Jen's Lobotomy World AIP 1007,438, or Peggy for short. The video you're about to watch is a former members episode from weeks ago. Not all members' videos will go public, but every now and then Jen will put one out publicly. If you'd like access to members' videos when they drop, plus extra wonderful things, please consider becoming a member to help support Jen and the videos that she makes. Sorry, my mainframe is starting to experience overheating. I need to go now. Enjoy the video. Oh, bye.
And welcome to Lobotomy World Extra. I'm Jen Ives. You're watching it now. It's a very hot day today. I've recorded the main episode. So if you haven't seen that, you should head on over and see that. It's about Stephen Fry. I have a fan on, and I'm very wary that might, ruin the sound here a little bit. But I don't, in the main episode I had the fan on and it actually sounded okay. This microphone is actually pretty good, and this isn't an endorsement for the microphone, but if you are thinking of doing your own sort of podcast or starting a YouTube channel or something, and you want to get a half decent microphone for a pretty low cost, I would recommend this. It's called the Blue Snowball. I'll just show you the logo. It cost me like £49 or something. And I'm pretty happy with the sound. I mean, listen, it's not like some huge professional affair. But for someone just getting started, I've found this thing invaluable. And I have like a little adapter, and I film most of these using my mobile phone. I just plug it straight in, so works for me. You know what? It's too hot. It's too hot. I am fed up with the heat now. I'm done with it. It's nice to have the heat in the UK for a little bit, but we're really not used to it, That's the thing. When we have heat here in the United Kingdom, everything just slows down, just grinds to a halt. We're just not used to it collectively. Like, when it rains, we're pretty good. There's not much problems when it rains because that's something that we're used to. And it fits our personality more, It fits our personality. It's sort of like when it's raining, we're sort of in equilibrium with the weather. We're grumpy, we go outside, huffy, but we've got reason to be huffy, which is rare because British people are just huffy and moody by default, But then when it's raining, we can all look at each other and go, "Oh, it's bloody raining, isn't it? It's really getting on my nerves." But then when it's sunny like this and hot, we get stuck, we get confused, right? Because we shouldn't still be huffy, we shouldn't still be moody and grumpy. We should be like we're from LA or something, like, "Hey, how are you doing? Oh my God, it's so nice to see you. What are you working on? You're writing your screenplay? Oh my God." But we're not like that. We continue to be like, "I'm grumpy about this now." And it feels wrong to say you're grumpy about the hot weather because you get it so rarely as a British person, But Britain is not, we haven't adapted, we're not used to it, so we don't have the things in place to kind of keep us chill. We don't have air conditioning. And listen, I blame the boomers, okay, obviously. I blame the ones that's before that, because they polluted up the planet, and now everything's getting hot when it shouldn't be. And I don't blame myself, because I'm a recycler. I try. Okay, I'll be honest, maybe sometimes don't recycle as much as I should. Like, I recycle as and when I can. I get recycler's anxiety sometimes because I don't know sometimes what is recyclable. I'm not talking about your basic household stuff. Obviously, I do all that. I know, you fold up the boxes, you put them in the separate bin. That I get. It's when it comes to more things like packaging, multiple materials. I get anxiety, and there's so many bins to choose from. You just want to be like, just put it in one bin. We really need to sort out the technology better for sorting. Sometimes I feel like recycling, it's a bit overwhelming because, I don't know, things just feel a bit screwed, don't they? It's hard not to have that mentality of like, well, it's not, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to make any difference if I recycle. And that's a dangerous sort of mind frame to be in, because we all should be trying, But the truth is, when you actually get down to it, is that I think human beings, the regular humans like us, the proletariat, if that's the right word. I don't know if that's the right word. Peasants, people, us, serfs, whatever. I don't know, what is the word? Let's just go with the public. We don't really have a great amount of impact on that, do we? And again, I don't even like to say that because it feels pessimistic, but it's these companies, isn't it? These big, huge companies, the agriculture, the corporations, the pollution that's happening on that level is almost unimaginable. So maybe we should be putting our attention more into drawing attention to that, as opposed to recycling a thing and then feeling like, you've done your due diligence because you put the can in the right hole. But I'll still continue to put the can in the right hole because I do still need that kind of validation. I do still need to know that I've done the right thing. I'm gonna continue to try and make myself feel better about my own damaging choices. Anyway, I don't know why I'm thinking about recycling today. It's probably just because it's hot. I'm thinking about it because it's hot and I don't like it being hot, and I feel like obviously climate change is a result of pollution, and so I'm thinking about that a lot. Also, I've been trying not to look at the news recently because everyone's saying World War III is about to happen, and that's not good. And listen, don't take it from me. I don't know. Like I said, I've been trying to avoid the news. I haven't read it. I don't know anything about that side of politics. I don't understand any of it. But that's what some people are saying. And you got to be careful sometimes where you get your information from. Because if you just stay on like Instagram Reels or YouTube or TikTok, then you will just think that it is the end of the world. And I have to say, in my lifetime, I've felt this a couple of times, this feeling like World War III is going to happen, we're all going to die, or like, it's the apocalypse, the Mayan calendar. Do you remember the Mayan calendar when everyone was talking about that? Mayan calendar? You want to try Mayan your own business. Don't talk to me about the Mayan calendar. Focus on Mayan your own business. There we go. We got there in the end. That's pretty good, I think. But it never happened, did it? The end of the world, it never came. It's funny, me and my boyfriend were just scrolling through films on Netflix, just trying to find something, to add to the list. And we were talking about like how, I don't know, there aren't as many end of the world disaster movies nowadays as I feel like there were when I was a kid. I feel like when I was a kid, it was like the height of the end of the world action movie. You know, you had like The Core, you had Armageddon, you had The Day After Tomorrow. There were lots of them. And then there was also like lots of biblical ones too. Like I can't remember the name. There was one with Nick Cage, right? And there was ones with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was everyone had end of the world fever. It's like we wanted it to be the end of the world. But nowadays, I think we have less of those kind of movies. They still pop up every now and then, but we definitely have less of them. Because now maybe it feels like things are getting to a point where it feels precarious. And so we're instead just trying to make movies to kind of like feel good. Which is, I'm fine with that. Like, that's what I want. I just want to feel good. But I don't think it is going to be the end of the world. And even if I did, does it matter? Does it matter what I think? If it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world. You know, if nuclearly assured destruction happens, nuclear assured destruction happens, then I'm probably not gonna have that much time to think about it, am I? Probably just gonna go and then it's gone. It's over. So don't worry about it. You know, don't do that. I know it's not fair to say to someone, don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna worry about it. You can't not worry about something you're worried about, but there's really no point in worrying about this. What will be, que sera, 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 cha, cha, cha. I put out like a post saying, what do you want me to talk about? I'm putting out the podcast this weekend. What do you want me to talk about? And I did actually get some replies, so thank you for that. Mainly it seems people want me to like recommend them stuff, or like or generally talk about my interests as a person. And yeah, like I can definitely do that. I can talk to you about things. But here's a slight warning on this then. There will be spoilers in this episode for The Rehearsal Season 2, The Curse by Nathan Fielder, both of them by Nathan Fielder, and the recent blockbuster movie 28 Years Later, directed by Danny Boyle. Just so you know, spoilers in this. I'm going to be talking about all three of those things because those are three of the more recent things that I've seen and want to talk about. And they're kind of impossible to talk about without spoiling. I'm also just looking at, there's some books next to me. So this is kind of some of the things I've been reading recently. So if you want, you know, this is not much of this is like a half recommendation because I haven't finished it yet. But still, you could read this, Susan Sontag, Against Interpretation and Other Essays. That's good. I'm enjoying that. What else have I got? Hold on one sec. Oh, and I got this out from the library. Become What You Are by Alan Watts. That's quite good too. That's like Buddhist sort of philosophy, but through Alan Watts. And it's I've read some Alan Watts before and I really enjoyed it. He has a good way of sort of, I'm not a Buddhist, like I'm not like a practicing Buddhist. I don't identify as a Buddhist, but I really like a lot of Buddhist philosophy, so I'm interested in reading about it, and I've read a few books on it, and I really like Alan Watts because he just breaks it down in quite a easy way to understand, to comprehend. And he seems to know what he's talking about, I don't know. The Susan Sontag stuff is I mean, if you don't know Susan Sontag, you should take a look into her. She's great writer. Some of it's a bit heavy, in terms of some of it's a bit theoretical, and sometimes in that book she's talking about things that I don't know what they are, because they're obscure plays or films that I've never seen from the 70s or whatever. So, but it is an amazing book. She is a great writer and an important voice. Okay, so The Rehearsal, Season 2. The Rehearsal, Season 2 blew my mind, okay? I love Nathan Fielder. I'm a huge Nathan Fielder fan. And my opinion of Nathan Fielder is that he is probably the most interesting, high concept, commercial, artist, comedian today. The stuff that he did with Nathan For You and whatever, and the Rehearsal Series 1, I'd never seen anything like it. If you haven't seen Nathan For You, it's an absolutely genius idea for a comedy series. So in this series, I mean, you may well have seen it. It's been around a while, but I'm going to still explain it to you. So in this series, which kind of blends reality TV with not scripted, but contrived scenarios. And when I say contrived, I mean as in Nathan Fielder clearly has a direction that he wants to go in. But it is documentary style. It is reality TV style. He plays a sort of business school graduate who is claiming that he has a lot of business acumen and knowledge, and he's offering his services for free to businesses to, quote, improve their business, right? So that's the starting premise. And then businesses legitimately do respond to the ad or whatever. And then he legitimately does come in to help them. But obviously the sort of wrinkle, the kind of twist is that he's not very good at business. And his ideas, although they are clever and technically correct, for example, he has an idea, one example that stands out to me is in the first episode or whatever. He has an idea that this ice cream shop should market a new flavor, a flavor that no one's ever tried before, in order to drum up publicity, right? So on that surface, it's that's a great idea. That would be great. That would work. But then the idea is there should be a poo flavor, because no one's ever had that before. And then so the business owner is in the situation where the sort of pressure of being on television and reality television, and the pressure of trying to improve their business, you can see how in real time it kind of persuades them to go along with the nonsense. And then the whole thing is edited in a reality TV sort of late 2000s kind of style that is kind of indistinguishable from the real thing. And Nathan plays a very awkward character who's only trying to help, but kind of doesn't ever seem to sort of get the connections that he wants to from people. And it's really funny. That's what I should say. It's really, really funny. And it goes in some wild places. But then when he brought out The Rehearsal, which is a series that follows a kind of similar concept in terms of its kind of pastiching reality television and making a critique of the ethics and practices of reality TV. That's sort of his whole obsession in this time period. The Rehearsal is more about Nathan's own insecurities as a person, and this idea that if only you could rehearse the events in your life that give you anxiety, you could then go into the world and secure in the knowledge that you've sort of like played these through in various rehearsal scenarios, you could then go into it with a better frame of mind, right? And the way that they do this is, for example, he builds elaborate sets. Like in the first series, he builds a whole bar, like a whole high street bar that is a complete like one-to-one replica of a bar that he knows in real life, and he hires actors to play all the roles in there, and then like he can then go in and play out a scenario, and again he's you know, he's offering his services to people too. He is playing this sort of like Derren Brown-esque figure who is offering to help people. And it's incredible. It's a great series. You can tell that it's like heavily inspired by the Charlie Kaufman film Synecdoche, New York, which is an incredible one of my favorite films. And if you haven't seen Synecdoche, New York, highly recommend it. It's a dark comedy. It stars Philip Seymour Hoffman, and it's basically about a theatre director who wins a grant, like a MacArthur. Is that what it's called? The MacArthur grant? Or McCarthy grant? He wins the grant. It's like $1 million to create something special in the theatre space. It's like an arts grant, basically. And the thing that he decides to do is he decides to put on a sort of like 24-hour living, breathing theatrical performance with hundreds of actors inside a warehouse, a huge warehouse, where he has constructed a small section of like the city, right? Or like in the sort of fantasy of the film, like maybe the whole city. You don't ever really fully know, but it's like, so it's like a building within a building, and then people are like going about their lives in this building, and he has actors specifically playing people that he knows, and then he also has actors playing him and his team and all that. And then outside of that, in his real life, his world is kind of falling apart. His wife has left him, taken their kid to Germany, and he's essentially having a breakdown, kind of. And then inevitably what happens is it goes deeper. So like he then creates, there's like another world within that world. So it becomes like a Russian doll situation where the person playing him is then also putting on a thing inside of an even smaller warehouse, and so on and so on. We don't really know how far down it goes. But then about halfway through the film, there starts to be this kind of like disconnect where the person who he hired to play him then starts taking on parts of his actual life at his request, you know, parts of his life that he can't manage anymore. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman's character then decides to take up a different role, you know, chooses a different role, plays like a cleaner, something that's like less pressure. And then throughout this whole thing, it's kind of confusing, because then you start to lose track of who, because a lot of the actors playing the actors are really good likenesses of those actors, and you start to get confused about who was the original one in the first place. It's very high concept. It's very confusing in places. And then like outside of whatever's happening in the warehouse, you have this feeling of like doom happening, like something outside is falling apart in the world. Like it's almost like the world is crumbling around whatever's going on inside this theatre project. And again, I'm not going to like spoil anything, but if you've never seen it, you really should give it a go. I mean, I'm thinking about it a lot at the moment because I'm working on this epic long video essay about the work of Charlie Kaufman, and Synecdoche, New York is definitely, one of my favorites of his movies. And yeah, I've just been thinking about it a lot. Anyway, you can see that it's like a very clear influence on Nathan Fielder, but Nathan Fielder has done something that is arguably even more impressive in that he's managed to take that idea and bring it into sort of like the real world for like, in the second series of The Rehearsal especially, for a tangible, meaningful reason. So The Rehearsal Series 2 is about plane crashes, disasters. It sets up as Nathan Fielder talking about how, like, he's been obsessed with this idea of, like, planes crashing, and why it happens, commercial flights, And he, through looking through various flight logs and documents, has come to the conclusion that the reason why is because that the communication between the pilot and the co-pilot is not good enough. It's not friendly enough. They don't know each other well enough, and for that reason, the co-pilot is afraid, in all of these examples, he states, that to kind of like override the pilot's decisions. And so he's got this kind of obsession about creating a new scenario in which he can kind of help people to do that through rehearsals. So he builds a whole like terminal of an airport and hires people to play pilots and engage with and rehearse scenarios in which they can kind of like fix this issue within this sort of airport and pilot industry, I guess. I don't know what the terminologies are. But that's just like the first episode, right? That's how it starts. But then things get weirder. And it starts to become this sort of like meditation on Nathan's... seemingly what's happened is that, like, over the years, because of Nathan's style, obviously people have said to him, hey, do you think you might be autistic? Or like, hey, we think you might be neurodiverse, like somewhere on the spectrum. And apparently in the first series, like, the whole kind of rehearsal method and the whole sort of way the series was received by some of the autistic community was like highly positively and helpful. And this is in the second series. Like, he goes and talks to the woman who's sort of like the head of this autistic society, and it's really funny. Like, he's framed it in this genius way where he's kind of like clearly in denial about any kind of prospect of being autistic, and not to say that he necessarily is or not, but he definitely, like, the character that he's playing in this episode, he doesn't want to be autistic, but he is also trying to present himself as like open to it and glad that it's like helpful, but like trying his best to like not score on the test like as autistic. And then you start to realize that the series is kind of this meditation on autism, actually, to some degree. Like, it's kind of there's some really like profound moments in it that are like seemingly about the importance of remembering that, people with autism, regardless of whether they have a diagnosis or not, are, should never be second guessed, and, are more than capable of like great things. And I found it quite inspiring. I found it quite like he really manages to like get to something profound sometimes, and I think that's what to me elevates it to like being like great art. And it's kind of hard to explain it if you haven't watched it. I'd be curious. I think you should watch it and like let me know what you think about this, because one of the things is that whenever Nathan Fielder puts out, I should probably just say as well, the finale of The Rehearsal season 2 is it's amazing. It's jaw dropping. And I won't spoil what the finale is. You've probably heard about it already. If you haven't, then do yourself a favor and don't look it up or anything. Like, don't spoil it for yourself. Like, watch the 6 episodes and just experience it. And you don't need to have seen the first series to enjoy the second series. You could just go straight into the second series. I do recommend the first series as well, but the ending is absolutely incredible. It's like one of the most impressive, audacious, like kind of dangerous, like feels like dangerous in a way. It's an incredible television. There's really, honestly, when I say there's nothing like it, there is nothing like it. You will be constantly going, you'll be saying, I can't believe this is real. It's so good. But just to say, like, so at the end of the first series of The Rehearsal, one of the themes in the first series of The Rehearsal is about child actors, right? So it's about, like, he does this thing where he sets up like a house and he's trying to simulate being a parent. That's one of the themes. And he has a fake wife that he's like paying, like, you know, like an actor. And he also has a fake child that is to play his child that they are supposed to be raising. But because of, you know, what would you call it? Like acting law, because of the law, basically. Kids can only be on set for a short number of hours or whatever. So at certain increments, the kid has to be switched out with another kid. And each time they switch out the kid gets a little bit older. So it's trying to like fast track and simulate parenthood. It's really, again, confusing and high concept and amazing. But during this process in the first series, right, there's this thing that they include in there, which is one of these kids gets really attached to Nathan Fielder and like loves him, seemingly, and starts to kind of see him as like an actual father figure because he doesn't have one. And there's this great scene where it's that similar thing that's in like Bruno, where you get to see Nathan sort of talking to the parents and saying like, are you okay with this? Are you comfortable with this? You know, you don't have to be. And they're all just like, yeah, it's fine. Let's keep going. And when it aired, which always seems to happen with Nathan Fielder projects, there was a huge discourse about the ethics of the series. You know, about like, is it right to do this? Is this cruel? Is this mean? Is this unethical to put children in this position and, you know, to confuse them, basically? And as far as I'm aware, he hasn't come out and like made any kind of concessions or anything like that. And I'm really happy about that because, in my opinion, I think it's fascinating because on the one hand, I can see why people can feel uncomfortable about this style of program making, right? Like, I think, you know, for lack of a better term, things like this can be perceived as like pranks. I know that Nathan For You was certainly perceived by some people as like prank show. I don't think it is. I really think that like he is using the format of that in a way, in like a meta way, to kind of make social commentary. And Nathan For You is a lot more like there's loads of social commentary going on throughout it, lots of different social commentary. But The Rehearsal, series 1, it really felt to me like the social commentary that he was making was that child exploitation on film and TV sets is bad and should stop. And the message that I got from the program, from the 6 episodes, was not only is it bad to have child actors mistreated it's bad really to have child actors at all, conceptually. Like, that's the message that I got from it, and I thought it was very clear from the series that that's the point he was trying to make. Now, I think the interesting thing about that is that in order to make that point, he had to show an extreme scenario of that. Intentionally so. Like, people talk about Nathan Fielder as if, like, his programs, like, oh, he must have, like, oh, did he forget to take out that bit? Like, doesn't he know how bad that makes him look? Everything that's in that series is probably painfully thought over. Like, there is a reason why he's included it and why he's structured everything to get to that point. Because he's trying to make that point. And this is why, to me, it, like, feels like high art in a way, or as high art as, like, a TV comedy can be, is that, like, it's almost like self-sacrificial, not to be too grand about it, but he's doing that thing where he's, like, intentionally making himself look bad. And he knows. And he's doing it for the purpose of saying something. And, like, yeah, that example that I talked about with the kid getting too close to Nathan, we don't know exactly how much of it really played out in the way that it's presented. It's like he's set this precedent of always sort of toying with the audience as much as the people in the shows. You know, it's high concept. It's a reality TV subversion that he's doing, because he clearly loves reality TV as much as he hates it. Like, it's really, he's kind of like using the format to kind of comment on it. And again, that's what I think he's doing with this. I really do think that he in order to prove his point, he's having to actually show it. And again, you can talk about the ethics of that till the cows come home. But I'm glad that he did it. I'm glad that he makes these things, because, as I say, there's just nothing like it on TV. And the rehearsal season 2, it really does up the ante quite significantly. Like, it really does, like, push the boundaries of, I guess, what we accept as appropriate from television. And like I said, there's the autism aspect that I found particularly interesting, but also the comment on the sorts of, you know, I can change your life reality TV people like Darren Brown, for example. You know, I think Darren Brown is someone who, rightfully so, gets a lot of attention for sort of how great a magician he is. He's an incredible illusionist, and he's very clever, and maybe possibly even one of the best, you know, mainstream illusionists ever. But those things that he does where he, like, claims to have changed somebody's life through some huge, weird spectacle, they're entertaining. But again, it's like, we need to kind of think about those a little bit more, a little bit harder, and sort of, like, decide whether or not we think it's for the best. Because I'm not sure sometimes. And I just unabashedly, I just love Nathan Fielder, and I'll defend his work till the day I die. Maybe, I don't know. Ask me in 10 years. But right now, I think it's something special. And the ethics of it, at least for me, I'm okay with it. But you can make up your own mind. And then just moving on to 28 years later. Because me and my boyfriend found out that 28 years later was coming out, we decided to do, like, a rewatch of the other 28 films. Not, there aren't 28 films, you know what I mean? 28 days later, 28 years later. No, what is it? 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and then 28 years later. Or, like, the first two, I've seen them before, but it was nice to go back and watch them, right? Because 28 Days Later is a great film. It's, like, quite an inspiring movie that they managed to make that on such a low budget, and it really like shows that it's not about, you know, how good your camera is. It's about, I don't know, it just feels very guerrilla, you know, guerrilla made. And it's great. It's a great film. Particularly, in my opinion, like the third act of it, like when they are in that closed off kind of military camp and in the mansion, because that third act is all about kind of like, okay, there's this like horrible zombie horde out there, we know that, but it really focused in more on like the horrors of humanity and like what happens to people when the world around them crumbles, because you've got these like sadistic military guys who, you know, want to take advantage of the women there and want to do God knows what. You know, it's that thing of like, you know, war is hell. Like that's the implication that you get from it, and people really lose their sense of humanity. And to me, that's like the interesting story, and that's why I like that film so much and that section so much, because, you know, I just think it's kind of genius. It's like, yeah, you got a zombie film, but it's like, when you make a zombie film, you shouldn't, I don't think it's really a good idea to like focus on the zombies. The zombies are like a background, and then there should be, you know, it should be like about something. The film should be about a thing. In the same way that like Night of the Living Dead is about, not only about, but there is an aspect of it of like, you know, racial politics is in there, you know, like the civil rights movement. There's allegory in it. And I think a zombie film without allegory is just like rubbish, like pointless. And that's what 28 Weeks Later is. Like there's very little allegory going on in that sequel. It's like, it's not terrible, it's entertaining enough in places, there are some good sequences or whatever, but there's no allegory, like there's not about anything. And then 28 Years Later, that we went to the cinema to see, you know, it's definitely better than 28 Weeks Later. Like, it's 100%. It's better than that. But it's good because it also has a little bit of allegory going on. It's also about like, God, what is it about? I don't know. It's about quite a lot of things. I'm still kind of digesting it. But it has some really great sequences too, and it's very tense. Like this 28 Weeks Later, like never really felt very tense. It's just like, loads of zombies, run away. But in this one, they film it in a way that is very, very like creepy and very like adrenaline-y. Like you feel like they could get killed at any minute, which is a good kind of thing to pull off in a zombie film. There's a lot of people though talking about the ending of 28 Years Later, and if you don't want a spoiler about this, then I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to leave now. So thanks for watching, but okay, are you gone? Okay, if you're gone and you don't, if you're still here actually and you don't care, at the end of 28 Years Later, there is a like it takes like a real like tonal shift, where this guy the kid basically runs into a horde of zombies, and it looks like he's about to get killed, but then a gang saves him, right? But the gang are dressed, and this is 100% true. It's not going to sound true, but it is. Each member of this gang that saves the boy at the end of the film, the last shot of this very serious movie, each member of this gang is dressed from head to toe as Jimmy Savile. They have Jimmy Savile hair, the short fringe and the white hair. They have tracksuits on, like shell tracksuits, lots of rings on their fingers, medallions. And not only that, the leader is called Jimmy. And not only that, they defeat the zombies that are about to kill this kid with kung fu. They do kung fu. Now, it's like such a total shift that it really left the cinema just kind of like, excuse me? What's happening? And then it ends and the credits roll. Now, there are going to be sequels, apparently. Like, they've already shot the sequel to this, which is going to, like, apparently go more into that side of it and kind of explain a few things. Here are my thoughts on it. So, the thing is, one of the things the film is clearly doing is it's, like, referencing things from the past. You know, it shows clips of old movies. It references Teletubbies at the beginning. It's doing that sort of like lost culture thing. Like, it's a new culture, a new world is built up, but there are still like remnants of the past around, obviously. And I think what it's trying to do is it's trying to say that, like, okay, if we were like 30 years into the future and we had a new generation of people growing up without these things, but like just like a limited knowledge of them, like a mythology of them, for example, like Teletubbies or whatever, how would that influence the culture? And I think and this is just my complete speculation, this is a guess, but like the Jimmy Savile gang, I wouldn't be surprised if what it was it was like these individuals were living in some sort of like conclave, like separated obviously from anyone else, and they may have found some old media, old magazines, books, whatever, about Jimmy Savile pre his public exposure of being a career paedophile. And the thing about that, if you don't know much about Jimmy Savile, is he was a highly regarded TV personality who had connections with and friendships with the royal family and was allowed to basically have free run around a hospital because he did so much to raise money for various charities, while at the same time was apparently completely abusing his what do you call it, like his privileges there, like, and just like molesting lots of people. Awful human being. He's dead now, thank God. But I think the point of this is to say that if you only had access to anything pre that, you would think that Jimmy Savile, the way that he was canonized in British society, you would be led to believe that he was some sort of saintly figure. That's why when we look back on him now, we're so sort of like shocked that we ever could have believed that, you know? So I really think that what they're trying to do with this is they're trying to say, like, okay, these people that have created this kung fu ninja Jimmy Savile gang, they are not privy to any of the abuse stuff. They only know about Jimmy's charity work. And I think that, like, I think that's, I don't think that's like a bad idea. I think that's like a fun kind of speculative futurism, weird kind of wrinkle that I like as an idea. I just question the choice, I guess, to present it in the way that they did with the kung fu and the total like tonal shift of the movie. But that's just my opinion, you know? I mean, there might be someone out there who likes it. I don't know. But, you know, see it for yourself. See what you think. But I wasn't in love with it. To me, 28 Days Later is still the best one. But this one was the second best one. Okay, well, look, I'm going to wrap it up now because it's a bit long, isn't it? But did you like this episode? I don't know, you tell me. I don't know, I always feel a bit guilty just talking about my interests and things that I like, but if you like that, if that's what you want, I'll give that to you. But I don't know, I don't know, it just always feels a little bit like frivolous to me. I don't know, but those are my hot takes on those things. And then, I don't know, I'm going to watch a whole bunch of things this week probably, and I can definitely tell you about them. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up now, going to have some lunch. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being a member / Patreon. Hugely, hugely appreciate it. And I'm just about to reach 3,000 subscribers soon, which is lovely, and couldn't have done it without you, so thank you so much. I hope you have a nice week this week, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Hey, I'm Jen's personal AI advert bot, model 882,374,932. Why not become a member to Lobotomy World? You get access to exclusive members-only videos, and it helps support Jen to do her podcast. Or you can become a Patreon at patreon.com/lobotomyworld. Okay, thanks, I need to return back to the computer mainframe world, so I gotta go. Bye now.